Welcome back, Rewinders, to the Sunday Night Rewind. And your host, the Birdman, Chris Lemke. I'm here to recap all of the action from today's 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock Eastern games, as well as, that's right, the early game from across the pond over in Berlin. Let's just get right to it and get things started off with our man, Jonathan Taylor. Taylor lit it up for the Germans over there today. The NFL's leading rusher, stuffed for only 45 yards last week. Well, he rebounded in a big way. 244 yards, 3 touchdowns, including an 83-yarder, and then the game winner in overtime. JT leaving no doubt who this year's best running back is so far, at least for the Germans, right? But man, Jonathan Taylor bouncing back here. I don't know what else I can really say about him other than he's just been awesome this year. Showing off the wheels on the 83-yarder, carrying the Colts back into the lead at that point. The game ended up going into overtime as the Falcons rallied to tie it up. And then the Falcons didn't score on the opening possession. The Colts drove down and Taylor punched it in. Let's check out the box scores for this one. Starting off with the Falcons, Michael Penix, not so great of a day, just 12 for 28, 177 yards and a touchdown, no picks. The one touchdown was to Drake London, who ended up 6 for 104 and the touchdown, following up his 3-touchdown performance from last week. Bijan going 17 for 84 on the ground. Didn't add much through the air, though, just 2 catches for 4 yards. Not much else going on for the Falcons as Penix struggled most of the day. Kyle Pitts had a big drop. I know that would have been at least a 30-yarder. He finished with just 2 catches for 38 yards. Tyler Algier, though, did get into the end zone not once, but twice. So he's proving to be definitely a flex option. I think he's been kind of left in the dust for most of the year, seen as just a, super high-end handcuff. But the reality is he's been more than adequate as a flex option in a number of weeks this year. I think he's up to 5 or 6 touchdowns now on the season. So Tyler Algier showing his worth if you had to plug him in your flex spot this week. Now over to the Colts side of things. Daniel Jones, 19 of 26 on the day, 255 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. You can see Taylor's monster numbers there, 32 for 244 and the 3 touchdowns. Did have a fumble, but didn't lose that one. Daniel Jones added 53 yards on the ground. As for the receivers, Tyler Warren with another solid afternoon, 8 for 99 on 10 targets, kept the chains moving all day long. Alec Pierce started off hot once again last week, the start of the week. If you watched my start sit show, I told somebody to plug it in. It was a 50-50 toss-up. Told him, yeah, go with Alec Pierce. He started off the game last week, 3 for 60 on the opening drive. Man, whew. But Alec Pierce showing up again this week, getting the lone touchdown catch from Daniel Jones, finishing 4 for 84 on 7 targets. So the second leading target getter. He stole a ton of them from Michael Pittman, who just finished 2 for 19 on the day. And Josh Downs just 1 grab for 3 yards. So there you have it, man. Jonathan Taylor, if you're in win now mode, I don't know if there's a better back you could honestly go for, because he's cheaper than Gibbs or Bijan, but you're probably honestly spending just as much, if not almost as much, on like Christian McCaffrey But with JT, you have, 2 to 3 more years of good production. So JT definitely somebody I'm willing to buy high at this point in the year. We've got most leagues 4 weeks left in the regular season before the playoff push begins, and JT and this offense just continues to roll as they bounce back from their loss last week against the Steelers. Let's move along to our next stud of the day. That is Devon Achane from the Miami Dolphins. Now, I mentioned earlier today on the Start Sit show how that the Dolphins might find success today on the ground, that Bills' rush defense is second worst in the league, and they showed why today. Achane just lighting it up, had a 59-yard touchdown run. He ended up on the day with, how many yards did he end up with? 174 on the day with 2 touchdowns, 6 for 51 through the air on 6 targets. So over 200, what is that? 225 total yards for Achane, just blowing up. Man, I mean, Achane's always hovered around the top 5 running backs, but kind of gone under the radar this year since the Dolphins have been struggling. And, with the Tyreek Hill injury, Achane just continues to see the looks out of the backfield, which just protects his floor enormously. I mean, 6 for 51 today on the or through the air. That's 11 points just out of his receptions alone, and that's pretty much almost automatic every week what he's getting through the air. So even if the Dolphins going forward do struggle with running the ball in some weeks, you're going to see Achane still get some good opportunity through the air. Let's check out the Dolphins line here, their box score. Tua, not a terrible day. I mean, the Dolphins had the lead early and somehow were able to hang on. 15 of 21, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions kept the Bills' hopes alive there. You can see Achane's line there, 22 for 174 with a 59-yarder and the 2 touchdowns. Jalen Wright getting the action, the backup action with Ollie Gordon out this week. 5 for 17. You can see there he had a long of 18, so I don't know what he did on those other 4 carries. Jalen Waddle, though, continues to impress following the Tyreek Hill injury. This is his, 5th game over 14 points now out of the last 6 since the Tyreek injury. 5 for 84 on 7 targets and a touchdown for Waddle. Malik Washington also getting into the end zone, just 2 catches for 9 yards there. Greg Dulcich, who some saw as a tight end flyer, 1 for 22. And you can see Achane's stat line there, 2 through the air, 6 for 51. Over to the Bills, Josh Allen just struggling all day. 28 of 40 he finished. Did get over 300 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. But, Josh Allen, when he gets over 300 yards, that's usually honestly not all that good for the Bills. You can see Miami's rush defense not very good, but they stuffed James Cook today, 13 of 53 only. Josh Allen, 4 of 31. Khalil Shakir getting into things in the second half with a bunch of dump-offs, 7 for 58 for him. Keon Coleman did sneak into the end zone, 3 for 46 for Coleman. But Dalton Kincaid was covered pretty well all day, just 2 for 37 for Dalton Kincaid. All right, so Josh Allen, rough day at the office, but I'm sure he'll be able to bounce back. I'm not too worried about Allen, nor should you be. All right, next up, we're going to head down to Tampa, where the Patriots took on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it was Travion Henderson Day at the Pirate Ship. Travion busting out, 14 carries for 147 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a 69-yarder. This was his coming out party we've all been waiting for. He also, he also added a catch for 3 yards through the air. But the big news is that big 69-yard touchdown, added a touchdown later in the second half. The Patriots were able to hold on in this one. They scored a touchdown on a pass to Stephon Diggs on the last play of the first half. They went for it on 4th and goal from the 1 with 1 second remaining in the half. The game was 10-7 with Tampa in the lead at that point, and they did a little play action and flipped it to Stephon Diggs in the corner of the end zone. He was able to hang on and get that big touchdown heading into the half. Patriots came out on fire in the second half and then were able to hold off the Bucs' comeback attempt. Mac Hollins goes 6 for 106 today on 10 targets. Diggs, you can see there, 5 for 46 on 8 targets himself. Hunter Henry, nothing special today, just 1 catch for 9 yards. Pop Douglas, just 2 for 34 today. Kyle Williams, though, I know I mentioned somebody on the Start Sit show to hang on to him. He was debating who to cut. He wanted to cut 1 out of 4 guys, and I told him to hang on to Kyle Williams. Well, Williams busted out just 1 catch, but it went for 72 yards and a touchdown on the day. Big play for Kyle Williams as he's been getting more snaps as the season's rolled on here, and the Kayshon Boutte injury helped him get more looks today. Over to Tampa's box score. Baker, 28 of 43, just 273 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. So the box score looks great, but there was a lot of padding there in the fourth quarter, to be honest. The Bucs they scored on their opening drive and then really didn't get much going again until the fourth quarter. So New England's D doing the job, clamping down on the Bucs and Baker. You can see here, Sean Tucker actually led the way on the ground, 9 for 53. Rachaad White just 10 for 38. Now for the Bucs receivers, they got plenty of garbage time passes here, 6 for 115 and a touchdown. That was for Egbuka. That was on the first drive of the game, so things were looking really good early on, but not much else then afterwards. Cade Otton, he still finished with 150 yards. That's pretty solid, but regardless, Cade Otton, 9 for 82, big numbers for the tight end. Tez Johnson sneaking into the end zone twice in that fourth quarter. He finished 4 for 42 with the 2 touchdowns. So anybody who threw Tez Johnson into their lineup for a flyer flex was definitely rewarded. Sterling Shepard, 3 for 20, and then Rachaad White padding his stats, his fantasy numbers, getting 5 catches for just 16 yards is sort of an extension of the run game there. So Rachaad White kind of saving his fantasy day. Full PPR, he'd get, just in the double digits for you if you had to play Rachaad this week. So the Bucs go down. New England rolls to their 7th straight victory now. They're 8-2 on the year. The Bucs fall to 6-3, still in the lead in the NFC South because Atlanta lost and the Panthers lost. We'll get into that one in a minute. Next up, we're going to talk Breece Hall. Breece Hall of the New York Jets. Yes, took on the Cleveland Browns in New York, and Breece Hall busted out today. Many were worried because he didn't get traded, how he would perform. Well, he ended up with 21 carries, 83 yards on the ground, snagged a 42-yard touchdown, so 125 total yards for Breece on the day. The rest of the Jets, not so great. We can bring up the box score here for you. For the Jets, now they did pull out the win, and I'm just saying fantasy-wise, wasn't so pretty. Here, let's get over to the Jets first. Garrett Wilson, I know, was shut out on the day. You can see there, no catches on 3 targets. Justin Fields, passing-wise, not a whole lot to write home about here. 6 for 11 for 54 yards, the 1 touchdown to Breece Hall, and 1 interception. So literally 42 of those yards came on the Breece Hall touchdown, just 12 yards. 12. The rest of the way, it looks like Wisconsin Badgers pass attack from yesterday. Jeez. Justin Fields finishing with 28 yards then on the ground as well. But yeah, gross. Mason Taylor, just 1 catch for 4 yards. Over to the Browns box score. Quinshon Judkins, somebody who I thought would pretty much smash here against a Quinnen Williams less Jets defense. Judkins goes 22 for 75 on the ground, just 3.4 yards. So pretty ugly, but Jerry Jeudy, who I was admittedly definitely down on for this week, he busts out for once. Now he makes us all confused. Great. 6 for 78 for Jeudy. 12 targets. Oh, man. What do we do with this guy? Harold Fannin goes 4 for 44. He was banged up heading into this one. David Njoku, 2 for 21, did get the touchdown for his stats, so a little better fantasy-wise day for Njoku than Fannin. Cedric Tillman back in the lineup, just goes 2 for 11, and then Judkins added 2 for 10 through the air. Dylan Gabriel finished the day just 17 of 32 for 167 yards and the 2 touchdowns with no picks. Hard to say how good this Jets D is. I mean, they were going up against the Browns offense of all teams. So I don't know if I would buy into this and worry about playing against the Jets the rest of the way, but we can say there's a winning streak in New York. Oh yeah. I wouldn't bank on it, but yes, there is a winning streak. All right, we'll head over to the Windy City where the Giants visited the Bears, and Rome Odunze busts back out. That's right. I told you this morning not to be worried about Rome and his donut from last week against the Bengals. Rome bounces back in big fashion today. He goes 6 for 86 and a touchdown on 10 targets. So the Bears Ben Johnson made sure he'd be calling routes for Caleb Williams to hit him with this week. Good stuff for Rome Odunze. I know I've got a decent amount of dynasty shares of Rome, and so do you guys out there, I'm sure. So this was really nice to see. As for the rest of the Bears, let's bring up the box score for you all. Here we go. Caleb Williams gets the W. Let's bring it over to the Bears. There we go. 20 of 36, so not great on accuracy, just 220 yards and the 1 touchdown to Rome. DeAndre Swift, who did make it into the lineup, he was questionable all week with the groin injury to see if he'd bounce back into the lineup. Well, he did, 13 for 80. No touchdowns, though. Caleb scampered into the end zone, 8 for 63 for him. And then Kyle Monungai fell into the end zone as well. So he got you 28 yards and a touchdown. Okay numbers, maybe not what you were hoping for, especially if Swift had sat this week. I mean, combined, that's between the two, that's 108 yards. And then Caleb ran for 63. So good Bears rushing attack today. Colston Loveland goes 4 for 55. So not terrible. I told you guys this morning I would still play Loveland. And I mean, that's not awesome numbers, but 4 for 55 is still doing something, at least at the tight end position. Luther Burden back into the lineup. He goes 3 for 51. DJ Moore, though, big disappointment here. Big donut there. 0 for 4 targets. Nothing. What are we doing with DJ Moore? I mean, geez, somebody that you probably can't really get rid of. Nobody wants to buy him unless they're looking just in the dumpster for players. So probably somebody you just got to hang on and hope he kind of turns it around. I mean, but other than a Roma Dunze injury, I don't see good things really going forward for DJ Moore. Over to the Giants side of the ball, Jackson Dart, 19-29 for 242. Now, the big thing here is watch the concussion injury. Russell Wilson came in, went 3 for 7 with 45 yards. No touchdowns, no picks for any of them. Tyron Tracy led the way on the ground, though, for the Giants, so that's notable considering Devin Singletary led the backfield last week. But Tracy bounces back solid here with a 14 for 71 performance on the ground. Dart did add 2 touchdowns to his total, though, on the ground, along with 66 yards on 6 carries. Singletary, you can see there, went just 8 for 20. In the receiving room for the Giants, Wan'Dale Robinson goes 6 for 62 on 11 targets. So, Wan'Dale Robinson, 6 for 62. That's what you can put him in, pencil him in almost every week for. So he did what he's supposed to do. Darius Slayton did lead the way in yardage, 4 for 89. So he caught a long one there for 38 yards. Theo Johnson, 7 for 75. So a nice solid performance there out of Theo. And then Devin Singletary added 3 for 53 through the air. So that padded his numbers. Actually, he would have fantasy-wise outscored Tyron Tracy with that. But the key, I think, is the volume on the ground there. You can see 14 rushing attempts versus 8. Still sort of a pretty split backfield. I mean, I guess if you want to call it 55-45, you can. Regardless, moving forward, these two guys are both flyer flexes going forward. All right. Next up, we're going to hammer out one of the other uglier games of the afternoon. Head on down to Carolina, where the Saints visited the Carolina Panthers. And Chris Olave with a big day. He goes over 100 yards in the absence of Rashid Shaheed, dealt off to Seattle earlier this week before the trade deadline. Olave makes it happen, 5 for 104 on 8 targets and the 1 touchdown. Let's check out the box score here for the Saints. Tyler Shook with a pretty solid afternoon against a tough Panthers pass defense. They put the screws on Jordan Love last week. Well, Tyler Shook said, I ain't scared. 19-27 for 282 and 2 touchdowns for the Shook man. Alvin Kamara showing up, 22 of 83 for those of you who had to play Kamara. That's basically what I told you this morning. If you have to play him, I guess go ahead, play him. But 83 yards on the ground for Kamara. He added 3 for 32 through the air. You can see Olave's numbers there. Juwan Johnson, the other touchdown catch for the Saints. He finished 4 for 92, so a real solid day for Juwan Johnson. But other than that, that's pretty much it. That's what you're going to see the rest of the way for the Saints. Pretty heavily concentrated volume. Devon Bailey got 3 targets, but, man, they don't have anybody else. So it's going to be a healthy dose of Chris Olave and Alvin Kamara, as well as Juwan Johnson. Now over to the Panthers side. Do we even want to look? I know Dowdle got in the end zone. He went 18 of 53. So he got in the end zone, saving his fantasy day. Tet McMillan, almost what I predicted. I said you're going to get a 4 for 60 day. Well, 5 for 60 is what he went for. He got 8 targets, so he played the whole game on that bad hammy that we were concerned about. I know one guy was asking me between Tet McMillan and Travion Henderson, and I initially went Tet. Then I went back, looked at my rankings, and I was like, Tet's banged up. So they're basically even. I would just go with the healthy guy. Thank God I told him that. Hopefully it paid off for him because Travion just blew up today. But anyway, Ted McMillan gutted it out, 5 for 60. So that's good to see from the rookie on an injured day. Bryce Young, 17 to 25 for 124. No touchdowns and a pick, though. Not really what you want to see in a game where, I mean, the Saints got that Dowdle touchdown early, and that was in the first quarter. Really nothing the rest of the way. Nothing. Like, what do we got here? JT Sanders, 5 for 5 for 32 yards. Coker, 3 catches on 4 targets. I mean, this is just, man, this passing offense is just putrid. Ugh, I don't know what we can hope for Ted McMillan going forward. That's the only thing really holding him back. It held back Drake London for a couple of years, and I'm afraid it's kind of what's happening to Ted McMillan. So he's somebody that you're going to be able to plug him in every week, but the ceiling, ceiling definitely limited there for Ted McMillan. Let's finish off the early games. I think I've got one more to hit up here. The early games. Let's see. Yes, Baltimore, Minnesota. Sorry. There we go. All right. Baltimore, Minnesota. Ravens travel to Minneapolis, get the victory, 27 to 19. Lamar Jackson goes 17 to 29 for 176 and a touchdown pass to Mark Andrews, a 2-yarder. Derrick Henry, 20 for 75 on the ground, so not ideal. No touchdowns, so that really hurts Henry. You need those touchdowns because he doesn't do much at all through the air ever. Did have 3 catches for 9 yards. Lamar, 9 for 36 on the ground, so not an awesome performance from Lamar. Zay Flowers goes 4 for 75, pretty close to his usual day there. And then you can see Mark Andrews goes 3 for 14 with the touchdown catch. Story is more so over the Vikings. J.J. McCarthy had a rough afternoon, 20 of 42, 248, a touchdown and 2 picks for the second-year quarterback out of Michigan. He added 48 yards on the ground. Aaron Jones got in the end zone early. He was playing with that banged-up shoulder from last week. He went 9 for 47 on the ground, added 3 for 22 through the air. Jalen Naylor, though, hopefully you had him on your best ball team because I definitely did not recommend Jalen Naylor as a flyer flexed today, but he goes 5 for 124 and the touchdown. I'm sure he's going to be a hot waiver wire look. I don't know that I'm jumping at adding Jalen Naylor, but we'll look into that more for the waiver wire show coming up Tuesday morning. So yeah, Naylor goes 5 for 124 on 6 targets. Jefferson and Addison still led the way target wise. Jefferson just 4 for 37 though. So his targets from McCarthy not looking great right now. Same with Addison, 3 catches on 11 targets, only 35 yards. So that's something they'll definitely need to be working on this week. TJ Hawkinson with a stinker as well, 2 catches for 8 yards. So gross day for JJ McCarthy and the Vikings. All right, let's get into some of the late games. How about that? Let's start you off over in the Capitol in Washington. The Commanders took on the Detroit Lions, and the Lions looking for their revenge from last year's NFC divisional matchup where Jaden Daniels took it to them. Well, Jaden Daniels wasn't playing this week and definitely showed. Now, am I shocked by the performance? No, this final score is 44-22 Lions. Jahmyr Gibbs just going bonkers, 15 for 142 and 2 touchdowns on the ground, added 3 for 30 and another touchdown through the air. So, yeah, big day for Gibbs, kind of overshadowed by some of the other big rushing performances early in the game. And so, wow, Jahmyr Gibbs lighting it up. And let's head to the box scores here. For the Lions, Jared Goff on fire all day long. 25 of 33 for 320, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Jahmyr Gibbs, again, the 142 yards on the ground. David Montgomery, a solid performance, but no touchdowns, 15 of 70 for 71. And you can go to the receiving core. Jamison Williams getting a healthy dose. He got 7 targets today, 6 for 119 and a touchdown. Amon-Ra goes 5 for 58, also gets into the end zone. And then you can see the Jahmyr Gibbs touchdown grab there. Sam Laporta went 5 for 53. So solid day all around for the Lions offensively. Over to Washington, where Marcus Mariota was leading the Commanders, just 16 of 22 for 213, 2 touchdowns though. So, I mean, you can't really complain about that for a backup quarterback. I said I had him ranked around QB 15 for the day, and that's probably around where he ended up finishing. 5 for 22 on the ground. You can add in for Mariota. JCM struggled, 11 for 30 on the day. I said he was a sit. Chris Rodriguez, who I did mention that he was the team captain for the day, and he got the start actually in the backfield. He did get into the end zone. So if you had to play him for whatever reason, I guess it was okay. He left with an injury though. So I don't know what his status will be for next week. Through the air, Deebo Samuel caught one of those touchdowns. It was a pretty neat one in the corner of the end zone, 4 for 29. Not great for Deebo there. The other touchdown went to Ben Sinnott. We've got a Ben Sinnott sighting. Holy cow. 1 catch for 4 yards for Ben. I don't know if I'm going to be throwing him on the waiver wire video, but we'll check more into that. I mean, it was 1 catch on 1 target for Sinnott, so nothing to get overly excited about there. Zach Ertz, 4 for 54 on the day, and Treylon Burks sighting here. 3 for 58, 3 targets. Hey, a lot of injuries. So Jalen Lane gets a big 41-yarder on his only target of the day. So Treylon Burks getting more targets than Jalen Lane even. Hey, something we might have to check into with all the injuries in the Washington wide receiver room there. All right. Other late game action. We've got, we've got to talk about this one. Matthew Stafford just ripping the 49ers for 4 touchdown passes. What a day for Matthew Stafford. He just keeps rolling along here. Another 4 touchdown performance. He now has 13 touchdowns in their last 3 games. 280 yards, 4 touchdowns on the day. Nothing on the ground, but what are we really looking for here from Stafford? I mean, this is as good as it gets. 24 of 36 for 280 and the 4 touchdowns. Kyron Williams goes 4 for 73. Here's the box score. 14 for 73 on the ground and 2 touchdowns. So a nice solid day for Kyron Williams. Blake Corum getting in on the action, 13 for 56. Same thing just about every week. Him and Tyler Algier pretty similar. If they're on your waivers, they in a smaller league, redraft league, whatever, if they're still sitting on your waivers, you absolutely need to scoop them up. Devontae Adams leading the way yardage-wise for the Rams, 6 for 77 and 1 touchdown. He did leave with an injury, so something to monitor there. Puka, 5 for 64 and a touchdown, so a solid day, but nothing overly spectacular for the number one wideout in the league right now. Colby Parkinson gets into the end zone. Davis Allen gets into the end zone. Whoever wants to play for tight end for the Rams can get into the end zone, except for Tyler Higbee and Turd Ferguson. So who knows? It's Russian roulette at tight end for the Rams. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to scoop any of those guys up because you're just going to play the wrong one. All right. Maybe not. Maybe you get lucky. I don't know. Not the tight end room, though, I'd be going after. All right, Mac Jones over to the Niners. Numbers look good. 33 of 39 for 319, 3 touchdowns and a pick on the day. It's a lot of garbage time numbers, though, as the Rams jumped out to the huge lead early on, and they were playing from behind all day long. Christian McCaffrey just 12 for 30 on the ground, actually outrushed by Brian Robinson, who got 41 yards there and a rushing touchdown. So B-Rob, another backup running back that you must make sure is owned in your league because he would just take over this backfield if there were to be an injury, knock on wood, to Christian McCaffrey. George Kittle showing up, though, 9 for 84 on 9 targets today and the touchdown. So big day for the Kittle man. Juwan Jennings into the end zone as well, 6 for 71. So a nice solid day for Jennings. That was on 9 targets. McCaffrey adds 8 catches for 66 yards. So, of course, he still gets you home. Not quite up to what his projections probably were. But, only 30 yards on the ground for CMC, but 8 for 66 definitely helps out through the air. Kendrick Bourne, sorry if you played him. I know that I kind of mentioned him as a flyer flex this morning. I can't always be right, but I'm willing to admit when I was wrong. And Kendrick Bourne did not show up today, unfortunately. All right. And we have the one last late game. This one got ugly quick. Seattle just steamrolling, just following off of their Sunday night win in Washington last week. They took it to the Cardinals and Jacoby Brissett. Yikes. Brissett finished 22 of 44. This one was 21-0 before you could blink. DeMarcus Lawrence got 2 fumble recoveries for touchdowns in this one. Hope you had Seattle D if you're in a redraft league with defenses, because, man, that is a performance that'll win you a week. Brissett, 22 of 44, 258, 2 touchdowns, no picks on the day, but the couple of fumbles did not help. He added 31 yards on the ground. Amari DiMarcado, just 4 rushing attempts, but 64 yards and a 55-yard long. Bam Knight just 10 for 28. So we can see DiMarcado definitely the more efficient back here in this backfield going forward. Trey McBride in garbage time, which was pretty much from the first quarter on here, 9 for 127 and a touchdown. So McBride definitely didn't fall off. Marv did sneak into the end zone late here, 3 for 33 only for Marvin Harrison Jr., but did get that touchdown late to kind of save the day maybe for him. And Michael Wilson, 4 for 34. DiMarcado here added another 40 yards through the air on 3 catches. So he actually got over 100 total yards on the day for the Arizona Cardinals. Over to Seattle real quick here. Again, their defense just dominated this one. So Sam Darnold just 10 for 12, but got 178 yards on that. 1 touchdown and 1 pick. The 1 touchdown went, of course, to JSN. That was on their opening drive, I believe. So they started off hot right away, 5 for 93 for JSN. So he still had a decent day, even though they didn't have to throw hardly at all. You can see here Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet in that ugly split of a backfield. Charbonnet was the guy to be playing this week. 83 yards, actually, with a 30-yarder, got into the end zone. Kenneth Walker, 14 of 67, 14 for 67 yards. Let's see, he added 3 yards on a catch. Yippee-i-yo. And Cooper Kupp did catch a 67-yarder also, so he played actually this week. Rashid Shaheed, just the one catch for 3 yards in his debut. He also added 20 yards on the ground there for the Seahawks. So again, it's hard to really gauge anything off of this one. I mean, 10 for 12 for Darnold. This isn't going to be your typical week for Sam Darnold, although the way the Seahawks are playing, I mean, who knows? I do not want to be playing against the Seahawks at all. Like, they are just on fire here. Oh, there we go. So Seattle with another dominating performance. The Rams showing they're also on top there. So I can't wait to see the Rams-Seattle game coming up later this season in the NFC West. So there you have it. Some big-time running back performances today. A few decent wide receiver performances. Good to see Rome bouncing back. But again, running backs stole the show this week. So again, trying to trade for them in your dynasty leagues or redraft leagues is going to be expensive. But if you're going to win, you might need to do it. Anyway, that's all I've got for you. I'm the Birdman, Chris Lemke. Check me out on Twitter or X at clemke007_FF. Check out the Discord in Dynasty Rewind. That's where I get all the help I need. I try to help out everybody I can. Mike, Nate, all the guys in the Dynasty Rewind, trying to help out everybody this week, whether it's your start sits, whether it's trades, trade advice, maybe roster construction advice, whatever you need dynasty-wise. We are there for you, and we are looking forward to making you champions in your leagues, except the leagues I am in, because that's me. All right. Thanks again for joining tonight. I'll be out with the waiver wire video in a couple days, and you enjoy the Steelers visiting the Chargers tonight. I'm out.